I want to make the best bar menu possible, and I just came back from San Diego and got really inspired by a lot of great micheladas I had. So today I'm gonna kind of run down my own take on a michelada that is done with a kimchi base. Micheladas are basically like a light lager pushed into the Bloody Mary world. So it's a light lager with a lot of tomato, spicy goodness going, Bloody Mary mix basically. So to make a great michelada, we gotta start with the best light lager possible. And when I was down in San Diego, Stone is nearby and everyone was using Stone's Buena Base, which is a lime salted lager. I think it's a great base, and so that's what we're gonna use to start with ours today. Aside from the light lager, basically what we want to do is create a dynamic and complex tomato base that accentuates the lager feel without overpowering it, but also adds some range to it. And so I like the idea of, you know, that fermented product. And I thought the best way to do that would actually be to incorporate some kimchi into the base that goes into this michelada. What I did is took our kimchi from last week's episode, fermented. It also adds some garlic and dynamic complexity from onion as well. And it has a little bit of saltiness. And so we're just gonna take a little bit of the kimchi and throw it into the base of our shaker. Make sure there's enough sauce on that because that's what's actually going to dissolve. And the cabbage is just there to carry the fermented flavors. Of course, every michelada starts with a little tomato base. When you use tomato juice, you wanna make sure that you go with a organic tomato juice. If you go with something that's, you know, heavier like V8, it doesn't really go with the light acidity of a michelada. It's more for heavier Bloody Marys, things you're gonna add bacon to, stuff like that. So for our kimchi michelada, definitely not gonna use that. I also wanted to add a little bit of wasabi. A lot of traditional Bloody Marys use horseradish, but a little bit of wasabi powder actually adds a similar brightness and is a little bit easier to incorporate. Same thing with some mustard, a little bit of ground mustard. Add some dimension without overpowering the overall beverage. With all Bloody Marys or micheladas, you definitely want some lime. And so a nice lime, both for its juice and for its rind, is gonna be good for not only garnish, but also to add acidity and a little extra liquid to the beer. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take half this. One half is gonna go in for juice, and the other half we're gonna save for a garnish. So the juice of half a lime right into the shaker tin, and then we're just going to add some ice and mix this up. Now the next important part to doing a proper michelada is gonna be having a salt rim that actually adds to the flavor rather than takes away from it. So I designed a quick small salt rim just based on some spices that I have here that both add some depth of flavor as well as some bright acidity to it. We're going to start with a base of smoked salt. That's gonna give you a little bit of barbecue notes, a little bit of depth of flavor, but we don't wanna go with too much smoked salt. So just a little bit of that in there, and we are actually going to do the rest of the salt rim with regular salt. So we gotta have both in there. A little bit of regular salt, and then we're going to add some guajillo powder. That's gonna give you a little bit of spiciness, but not be too spicy. And it's also gonna give some fruitiness, which adds depth to the flavor of the rim. Lastly, we're gonna do some tahini. This not only gives you that classic chili pepper flavor, but also a little bit of lime flavor to give some acidity to the salt rim. So to rim the glass, we're just gonna take one of our lime wedges and smear it on the outside of the glass. Give it a nice coat like that. And then we're gonna save that lime for an actual part of the garnish. Top our glass with ice, strain our beer in, and then top with our mixture. If you want a less dilute mixture, then you can just skip the ice basically. Get your glass, add your beer, and then top with your michelada mixture. If you like that smoky flavor, one thing that I found is great to kick up a michelada is a little hint of mezcal, because mezcal is tequila basically, but it is smokier and sweeter. It's tequila adjacent, I should say. But we actually did an achiote infused mezcal, which is a dynamic pepper and has a little bit of herbalness as well as some sweetness built into it. So a little bit of achiote mezcal, and basically you turn your relatively innocent morning into, hey, let's get started. So that's it for this video. Now I'm gonna make our 21-year-old employee try all of these, all of them. Kimchi michelada, what are your thoughts?
It's very tasty.
And the more beery one.
It's still really tasty, but I would definitely go for this one because I just woke up not that long ago and there's tequila in this, or mezcal, and that kind of hit me in the face.
Oh yeah, I should have tasted it before the mezcal. Yeah.
It's tasty, it just threw me off a lot. This one, absolutely delicious.
The salt rim really brings both of those into like a new flavor world. Without the salt rim, I don't think it'd be the same drink. Both these really good. The one with the mezcal definitely tastes a little bit intense for a morning drink. It's got a lot of flavor, but it's also a lot of flavor. The salt rim, I think, kind of brings both of them home. And the fact that there's enough acidity from the kimchi and using a bright organic tomato juice, I don't know, I think it wraps it all up. I think it brings it home a little bit. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. Let us know what you want me to R&D next. It's gonna be a little bit more of a laid back vibe like this. It's not gonna be like, here's exactly what you should do to eat sandwiches. And so, yeah, you should follow us on Instagram for the same reason.